The plate of perfectly arranged Korean rice and banchan crashed against the dining room wall, sending fragments of ceramic flying across the marble floor. 7-year-old Soo-jin stood defiantly on her chair, tears streaming down her hollow cheeks, while her father Min-ho Park watched helplessly from the doorway. The 5th nanny this month was already gathering her things, crying softly. "Please, Soo-jin-ah," Min-ho whispered, his voice breaking. "You have to eat something." But his daughter just shook her head, her small fists clenched. "It doesn't taste like yamas. If you think losing your appetite is heartbreaking, wait until you see what this little girl's refusal to eat cost her father, and what it ultimately gave him." Before we dive deeper into this heart-wrenching story, subscribe to Mystic Tale by Luna for more emotionally powerful tales. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and please share this with someone who believes in love conquering all. Now, let's go back to how it all began. 6 months. It had been 6 months since the car accident that took Min-ho's wife, Soo-jin's mother, and turned their world upside down. What started as grief had become something far more dangerous: Soo-jin's complete refusal to eat anything that wasn't prepared by her late mother's hands. I didn't know it then, but the woman who would save both our lives was about to walk through our door with nothing but a worn suitcase and recipes that would change everything. Min-ho Park had built his tech empire from nothing, turning a small startup into one of Korea's most successful companies. But all his success meant nothing when faced with his daughter's empty lunchboxes and the pediatrician's concerned warnings about her rapid weight loss. "Mr. Park," Dr. Kim had said during their last visit, "Soo-jin has lost 12 pounds in 6 months. This isn't just grief anymore, it's becoming medically concerning." The failed parade of nannies, housekeepers, and even his own mother had tried everything. Traditional Korean dishes, Western favorites, even Soo-jin's previous favorite snacks, nothing worked. Each meal became a battle, ending with tears and untouched food. That should have been my first warning. When professional caregivers with decades of experience couldn't reach my daughter, I should have realized we needed something completely different. Desperate, Min-ho contacted Seoul's most exclusive international nanny agency. After explaining Soo-jin's situation, there was a long pause on the other end. "We have one candidate left, Mr. Park," the agency director said hesitantly. "She's unconventional. Amara Okafor, 26, from Nigeria. She's a culinary student working as a nanny to fund her studies. Her references are impeccable, but she's very different from what Korean families typically." "Send her," Min-ho interrupted. "I don't care about conventional anymore." The next morning, Min-ho's mother arrived unannounced, her disapproval evident the moment she saw Amara's photo on the agency profile. "A foreign girl? Min-ho, what will people think?" Mrs. Park's voice carried that particular tone that had intimidated him since childhood. "This family has maintained its reputation for generations. Your business partners, the media." "My daughter is dying, Yama," Min-ho said quietly. "I don't care about reputation anymore." Looking back now, I realize I should have paid attention to the warning signs my mother was already planting. But when your child's life is at stake, you'll ignore red flags you shouldn't. When the doorbell rang that afternoon, Min-ho opened it to find a woman whose warm smile seemed to light up the entire foyer. Amara Okafor stood barely 5 feet tall, her hair wrapped in a colorful head wrap, carrying a worn leather suitcase and a small cooler bag. "Mr. Park? I'm Amara. I'm here to help you and Soo-jin." Her accent was melodic, her confidence unshakable. Min-ho felt something stir in his chest, the first feeling other than worry he'd experienced in months. "She's hiding under the dining table," he said, gesturing helplessly. "She hasn't eaten breakfast, and she threw her lunch at the wall yesterday." Amara set down her bags and walked toward the dining room. Instead of coaxing or pleading, she simply sat cross-legged on the floor and began unpacking small containers from her cooler bag. The scent of unfamiliar spices filled the air. "I brought some ingredients from home," she said softly, not to Min-ho but to the small figure curled under the table. My grandmother taught me that food is love made visible. She began humming, a lilting Nigerian lullaby that seemed to wrap around the room like a warm blanket. Min-ho watched, mesmerized, as Soo-jin's head slowly emerged from under the table. What's that smell? Soo-jin whispered, her first words to a stranger in months. Ginger and garlic, Amara replied, still humming. And a little bit of magic my grandmother left in every recipe. For the first time in 6 months, Min-ho saw his daughter's nose twitch with interest instead of rejection. But that moment of hope was interrupted by his mother's sharp intake of breath from the doorway. She's so different, Mrs. Park whispered to Min-ho, her tone making it clear that different was not a compliment. That night, after Soo-jin had eaten 3 full spoonfuls of Amara's jollof rice, her first real meal in months, Min-ho found himself lingering in the kitchen. Amara was cleaning up, humming the same lullaby that had captured his daughter's attention. How did you know? He asked. How did you know she'd eat your food? Amara looked up from the sink, her eyes gentle. In Nigeria, we believe that food carries the spirit of the person who makes it. Your daughter wasn't rejecting food, she was rejecting the absence of her mother's love in every meal. And your food? I cook with the same love my grandmother gave me. Different flavors, same heart. Min-ho felt something shift inside him. This woman wasn't just feeding his daughter, she was feeding something broken in both of them. I didn't know it then, but I was already falling for her. The way she moved through our kitchen like she belonged there, the way she made my daughter smile again. I should have been more careful with my heart. Over the following weeks, Amara transformed their home. She cooked Nigerian dishes that Soo-jin devoured, teaching her about different cultures through food. She called her Mama Amara, the first time Soo-jin had used the word mama since her mother's death. Tell me about your home, Soo-jin would say during meals, and Amara would paint pictures of Lagos markets, family gatherings, and the grandmother who taught her to cook. Min-ho found himself joining these conversations, drawn to Amara's warmth and wisdom. She spoke of loss and healing, of how food connected people across cultures and generations. My grandmother always said that the best meals are the ones that heal hearts, not just hunger, Amara told them one evening. Your grandmother sounds wise, Min-ho replied, his eyes meeting hers across the table. She was. She taught me that love doesn't have borders. But their growing connection didn't go unnoticed. Min-ho's business partner, Chairman Lee, pulled him aside after a company dinner. The optics aren't good, Min-ho. Your daughter's attachment to the help, people are starting to talk. She's not the help, Min-ho said firmly. She's the person who saved my daughter's life. Be careful, Chairman Lee warned. Your family's reputation affects your business. Consider the message you're sending. That message became crystal clear when Min-ho's mother orchestrated an emergency family meeting. She had found a suitable Korean woman for Min-ho to marry, Dr. Yang, a pediatrician who could properly care for Soo-jin. That foreign girl has to go, Mrs. Park announced to the gathered family. She's filling Soo-jin's head with nonsense, and people are starting to talk. Dr. Yang is respectable, Korean, and appropriate for our family. Amara has done more for Soo-jin in 3 weeks than anyone has in 6 months, Min-ho protested. It's not about what she's done, his uncle interjected. It's about what's proper. What will your business partners think? Your clients? The media? Looking back now, I realize this was the moment I should have stood up for what mattered. But family pressure is a powerful thing, especially when you've been raised to value honor above happiness. The confrontation came 2 days later. Min-ho returned from a business trip to find his house in chaos. Soo-jin was locked in her room, sobbing. His mother was in the kitchen, disposing of all of Amara's spices. Where is she? Min-ho demanded. I sent her away, his mother said calmly. I told the child that her precious Mama Amara had to go back to her country. It was time to end this inappropriate attachment. Minho felt his world crumble. Upstairs, he could hear Sujin crying, calling for Amara. When he tried to enter her room, she screamed at him through the door. You promised she could stay. You promised. I had to choose between my family's approval and my daughter's happiness. That should have been the easiest choice in the world. He found Amara at Incheon Airport, her suitcase beside her, tears streaming down her face. Please come back, he begged. Sujin needs you. We need you. I can't do this anymore, Minho, she whispered. I don't understand my place in your life. Am I the nanny? Am I something else? Your family made it clear I'm not welcome. You're everything to us. But not enough to defend to your family. She was right. He had failed them both. For 3 days, Minho watched his daughter retreat into herself again. She wouldn't eat, wouldn't speak, wouldn't leave her room. On the 4th day, she collapsed from dehydration and was rushed to the hospital. I want Mama Amara, Sujin whispered from her hospital bed. She makes the hurt go away. Sitting beside his daughter's bed, Minho realized he had failed as a father. He had chosen his family's approval over his daughter's needs and his own heart. That should have been my first warning. When you have to choose between love and approval, choose love every time. I'm sorry, baby, he whispered to Sujin. Daddy made a mistake. If you're still here through all this pain, thank you. Stories like this aren't easy to tell or hear, but sometimes we need to feel the darkness to appreciate the light. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. And don't forget to share this with someone who needs to know they're not alone in their struggles. That night, Minho sat in the hospital chair, watching his daughter sleep. He thought about his wife, about what she would want for their daughter. She had been adventurous, open-minded, always pushing him to be braver. She would have loved Amara, he whispered to the empty room. I thought I was protecting my family's honor. Instead, I was destroying my family. The next evening, Minho crashed his family's formal dinner. His mother, aunts, uncles, and cousins were gathered around the table, discussing the arrangements for his introduction to Dr. Yang. I need to say something, Minho announced, standing at the head of the table. Sit down, Minho, his mother said sharply. We're handling this situation. No, you're not. You're destroying it. He looked around the table at the faces of people who claimed to love him. 6 months ago, I lost my wife. My daughter lost her mother. We were broken, barely surviving. Then Amara came into our lives. Minho, please. She didn't just feed my daughter, she fed her soul. She taught us both how to heal. She showed us that love doesn't have to look like what we expect it to look like. His mother's face was stone. What are you saying? I'm saying that I love her. I love Amara Okafor, and I'm going to marry her, with or without your blessing. The silence that followed was deafening. Then you're choosing her over your family, his mother said coldly. I'm choosing love over fear, Minho replied. I'm choosing my daughter's happiness over other people's opinions. I'm choosing to be the man my wife would be proud of. He found Amara at the Nigerian Cultural Center in Seoul, volunteering at a cooking class for international students. She looked up in surprise when he walked in, flour dusting her apron. Minho? What are you doing here? Instead of answering, he dropped to one knee in front of everyone in the class. The room fell silent. Amara Okafor, he said, his voice carrying across the room, I don't just want you to marry me, I want you to teach me to love like you do. I want you to show me how to cook with my heart, how to parent with wisdom, how to live without fear. Tears streamed down her face. Minho. I know I failed you before. I know I chose the wrong things. But I'm choosing you now, in front of everyone, forever. What about your family? You are my family. You and Sujin. Everything else is just, everything else. The room erupted in applause as she said yes. 6 months later, Minho and Amara's wedding was a beautiful fusion of Korean and Nigerian traditions. Sujin was the flower girl, beaming as she scattered petals in traditional Korean hanbok and Nigerian geli head wrap. Some family members attended, others stayed away, but Minho had learned that love is worth more than approval. During the ceremony, Amara read vows in both English and Korean, while Minho attempted a few words in Igbo that made her laugh through her tears. You taught me that home isn't a place, he said, looking into her eyes. It's the person who makes you feel whole. At the reception, Sujin stood on a chair to give a speech. Mama Amara makes the best jollof rice in the whole world, she announced, causing everyone to laugh. And she makes Daddy smile again. That's why she's my real mama now. Sometimes the person who saves your family doesn't look like what you expected. Sometimes love comes wrapped in foreign spices and lullabies in languages you don't understand. But when that love feeds your soul the way Amara's cooking fed my daughter's body, you realize that home isn't about where you're from, it's about who makes you feel whole. Today, 3 years later, Minho watches his wife teach their daughter and their new baby son how to cook traditional dishes from both cultures. His business thrived after his marriage, attracting international clients who appreciated his authentic approach to cross-cultural partnerships. The company expanded into African markets, with Amara's cultural insights proving invaluable. Their home has become a gathering place where Korean and Nigerian traditions blend seamlessly. Sujin, now 10, speaks fluent Igbo and Korean, switching between languages with ease. She helps Amara prepare traditional Nigerian soups while teaching her baby brother Minjun Korean lullabies their grandmother once sang. The kitchen where their love story began has been expanded, with space for both Korean and Nigerian cooking techniques. Amara's spice collection now fills an entire wall, while Korean fermentation jars line the windowsill. The dining table seats 12, always ready for the extended family of friends from both cultures who gather for Sunday dinners. Minho's mother eventually apologized, though it took 2 years and the birth of her grandson to soften her heart. She now learns Nigerian recipes from Amara, admitting that love had proven stronger than her fears. Your wife has taught me that family isn't about blood or nationality, she told Minho one evening. It's about the people who make you want to be better. The business community that once questioned Minho's choices now seeks his advice on international partnerships. His company has become a model for cross-cultural collaboration, with Amara serving as cultural liaison for their African operations. In quiet moments, Minho reflects on how close he came to losing everything that mattered. The weight he carried for months after his first wife's death had nearly crushed not just him, but his daughter's future as well. Have you ever regretted it? Amara asks him sometimes, usually when they're cooking together late at night. Choosing us over your family's approval? Never, he always answers. Not for a single moment. Their story has become something of a local legend in Seoul's international community. Young couples facing similar cultural challenges often seek their advice, and Amara has started a support group for international families navigating Korean society. Sujin, now in 5th grade, regularly gives presentations at school about Nigerian culture. She's proud of her unique heritage, carrying herself with the confidence of a child who knows she belongs in both worlds. My real mama taught me that love is bigger than fear, she told her class during a recent presentation. And my mama Amara taught me that family comes in all colors and speaks all languages. Some family members eventually came around, won over by Amara's grace and their obvious happiness. Others remained distant, but Minho learned that you can't build a life on other people's approval. The family members who truly mattered were the ones who chose love over prejudice. Minho's business partner, Chairman Lee, who had once warned him about optics, now brings his own family to their Sunday dinners. His daughter and Sujin have become inseparable friends, bonding over their shared love of both cultures. I was wrong to judge, Chairman Lee admitted to Minho during one of these dinners. Your family is more Korean than many Korean families I know, because you understand what matters most. The house that was once filled with the sound of a grieving child's tears now echoes with laughter, music, and the clatter of multiple languages being spoken simultaneously. Min Jun's first words were a mix of Korean and Igbo, much to everyone's delight. Daddy, Soo-jin says now, stirring a pot of jollof rice while her baby brother plays at her feet, tell me again how Mama Amara saved us. She didn't save us, baby, Minho replies, kissing his wife's forehead as she feeds Min Jun his dinner. She taught us how to save ourselves. And how to save others too, Amara adds, glancing at the photo on the refrigerator of the latest couple they've helped navigate cross-cultural challenges. Love multiplies when you share it. And in the kitchen filled with the aroma of love made visible, their family continues to grow, one meal at a time, proving that sometimes the greatest love stories begin with the simplest act of nourishment, and that home truly is wherever your heart finds its perfect complement.